The date is Monday, December 4th, 2023. The time is 6:01 p.m. This is a regular session of the School Board of Trustees of the School City of East Chicago. The place is the Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. We're also via live stream, www.scec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public to conduct the school corporation business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Present.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Present.
Trustee Smith.
Present.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Present. Let's please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, the agenda. 3.01, the approval of the agenda. Are there any comments from the audience of approving this agenda today? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve item 3.1?
Chairman President, I make a motion for approval.
Motion made by Trustee Smith. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 4, the consent agenda. Are there any comments from the audience of approving the consent agenda? The consent agenda consists of 4.01, a regular school board minutes, regular minutes of the school board, which is on July 17, 2023, 4.02, the donations, as well as 4.03, the fundraisers. Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve item 4?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 4.01 as we didn't get the school board minutes.
Is there a motion to remove then 4.01 from the consent agenda?
That'd be fine either way.
Okay. Motion to remove 4.01 from the regular, from the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Is there a
Wasn't in the
second?
board packet.
Second.
Second. Is there any discussions from the audience in removing 4.01 from the agenda, consent agenda? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call? On the, okay, I'm sorry. This is for the second motion, and removing 4.01 from the consent agenda. You proceed.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Now on item 4, the consent agenda, do I hear a motion? Actually, we made the motion, right? Seconded. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and call the vote.
He said motion. Did he say?
This is to call the vote for item 4, minusing the consent agenda, 4.01 from the consent agenda. Roll call, please.
No. So you just removed the item. Trustee Gomez asked to remove and add, but we separated it. So now you actually have to approve as amended.
Okay. So was there an approval on the
I will make a motion for approval.
consent,
Second.
amended consent agenda, right?
Correct.
Okay, motion made by Trustee Hernandez Orange, seconded by Trustee Gomez. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Thank you.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 5, new business, 5.01, approval of personnel report. Are there any comments from the audience in approving the personnel report? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve item 5.01?
Mr. Chair, make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion to approve item 5.01. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Gomez. Are there any questions?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
it looks like we've had three resignations on page 1 here. What is the plan on moving forward? It looks like one was effective more than a month ago.
Dr. Mitchell?
Yes, actually, we have a job fair Wednesday, the 6th, from 3 to 6 at Kerry Gosh. And then we have one that's the 4-day the following week on the 13th from 10 to 6 at Kerry Gosh. And that's, we're interviewing on the spot. And those teachers for vacancies that we have, we will be extending tentative offers pending board approval.
Follow-up question to that is that doc number 3587 has been effectively resigned since 10/20. It looks like in the item right above it, 3587, same number, there's a candidate that is not in place until 12/04. So what's happened in those interim 6 weeks?
What page number is that on?
This is the page 1, front page, yes. Personnel report.
So,
Okay. So
You're
you're
saying-
saying,
The resignation was effective 10/20,
yes,
and it looks like there was a successful candidate, which is going to be effectively approved tonight, that takes place. So what's happened in the interim of those 6 weeks?
Yes, what we do when there's a vacancy, we have a process where we either fill that position with a substitute, or the teachers, they will cover that class with their planning period. So we didn't miss any instruction during that time, and the students were still serviced appropriately during that time period. Again, it takes a little while to fill the positions. I believe that since this time happened, that it was put into place by policy that we have to have a job posted for 14 days. But then the CBA says we have to post it for 7 days internally, which means that there's an effective post of this job being out there 21 days before we can even make a hire. So there's some time delays that's in there from the time that we get a candidate. It can interview candidates to, we can move them to the board for approval.
Attorney Harris, I don't think that policy reads that it should come at the end of the 7-day waiting period, does it?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look at that to make certain.
I understand we changed it, but I don't know that that means that we wait 7 internal days and then we add, but I'll let Attorney Harris,
But yeah, it's possible that it does work that way. If a portion of it is an internal posting before it can be external, it might be, where those days, stack upon one another, where it could, the net effect.
yeah, I don't know that that was the intent of the committee or the board, but
I'll
thank you.
take a look at it to see if it turned out that way, even if
Okay.
it's unintentional.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of hung up on that. So there's 2 options here. You said either substitute or covering that with a teacher who's got a planning period. Which is it?
It's both. Again, it's not all the time that we're able to get a substitute teacher, and in those cases, the teachers do cover the vacancies in the building with their planning period. So all the teachers, they come together and they utilize their planning periods to cover the class for the vacancy.
Trustee,
If I may, just one more question, thank you. Doc 3583 on page 2. Is that resigned just as the technology leader or as a teacher?
That's just a resignation as a technology leader, so that was an ECA.
Thank you. I'm done.
83.
Any other discussions?
Trustee, I'm sorry, Chairman, I just wanted to add, and Dr. Mitchell, I don't know if you said this, I don't believe so, but teachers also split the classes just to make sure that we have enough coverage overall for those students, so.
Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. 5.02, approval of, I'm sorry. Are we at 5? Yeah. 5.02, approval of claim dockets. Are there any comments from the audience in approving the claim dockets? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve 5.02 item?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion for approval.
Motion made by trustee Smith. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Are there any discussions?
Chairman,
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
on page 10, check number 114150, and I did ask Dr. Mitchell previously about reimbursement for individuals in the district and how that actually worked. So if I'm a district employee, would I receive some type of compensation for transportation? And my understanding of any type of reimbursement is if I'm going to a conference or whatever have you, yes, I would receive my reimbursement back. But if I'm a district employee and my job is to move within the district, I would not receive any type of compensation for that. I have many individuals who are here in the room who move from school to school, which do not receive compensation. So Dr. Mitchell, I know he sent back something saying with the policy, but I just wanted a further clarification in regards to this solely because this individual will fall under a district employee, and I'm not understanding why there's reimbursement for some items or not. And I know this time we didn't receive the big document, so if you could further clarify.
Okay, well, I do have Ms. Leila Simmons here, the CFO, who can probably go a little bit deeper into those two claims. I believe that there's two claims there. If she can go a little bit deeper into those claims about what transpired.
Okay, feedback.
Which number did you state?
114150.
This is reimbursement for mileage for going to a conference in southern Indiana.
Both? There's two items.
We
Just
also
one?
went to a conference in Plymouth, Indiana.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussions?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
same page, 114155. The board had a discussion about this with the superintendent asking for reports. I've not seen any.
Trustee, I thought the conclusion was that Dr. Mitchell was going to in turn give us the reports. It's not.
Right, that's correct.
Oh,
That is correct.
All right, so, and I believe that we also spoke about that if one consultant was to give a report, then all consultants would give a report.
correct.
And if I get reports from all consultants, then I would definitely do that. I don't even have communication with all the consultants because I don't know who they are. Some of these consultants were brought on board before I took this role. And so I don't mind sharing a report with you all. And actually, I believe it may be to the benefit of the board and the community if such consultants were to give a report publicly to the community, so in all efforts of transparency, that everyone will know what those consultants do, how they do it, and what the impact is to the district. I would be glad to work on a template of how that report will look and how it will flow, so we can be efficient with time, but also be thorough enough and in-depth enough so that the public can know exactly what these people are doing in our districts and how they're doing it. So if you want me to do that, I will do it with no problem, and I will share that template with you all. I can do it by next Monday, have a template for you that will go to the consultants, and then all consultants will have a time to come before the public and give their reports.
Chairman?
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Dr. Mitchell, I applaud that transparency. I do feel bad for all of the people who will be on the board at that time to make that happen. I know previously what we would do with consultants is we would just have a monthly, kind of like a rundown of what kind of has been happening, and I don't know if the board would like something like that. And that you can obviously place on, our website or something. I just feel like, one, you'll be doing a lot of work as well as the consultants. I hate to have Ms. Randolph go above and beyond, waste more time to do something like that when she should be with her kids. That's my opinion, but I understand transparency is always needed.
And part of that is why I suggested that we do some type of template. And at that point, everyone will be given a report. I don't believe that that practice would not be a fair and just practice only to have one consultant give a report when we have probably 100 consultants in a district at this time. So again, I just like to be fair, I like to be transparent, but I also want to ensure that we are very, I'm going to say that across the board, everyone knows what it is. To have something look like it's an attack on someone, I don't believe that even though if that may not be the case, but sometimes perception is a person's reality and a person's truth. And I think that we definitely need to be cognizant of that. But I will share with you that I do get a report from Ms. Randolph daily, actually. And but I don't get a report from other consultants daily. I don't get a report from other consultants even monthly or weekly. So again, if you let me know what exactly you want and we can implement it in a fair and just way, then I'm more than happy to do so.
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
I believe we were very clear about that when we had our conversation, and that when the issue was brought to the board's attention, that it may look one-sided, that the board agreed that yes, then let's go with it. But you're asking us to approve tonight something that you have not provided to us, as we've already met before and talked about this. So we're having the same discussion again to try to get one item done. And if it means that you got to contact 100 contractors to feel that it's, evenly divided across the board, so be it. But we were very clear about it. So I don't know why the delay on the report. I'm ready to move on to vote.
I do have one comment I'd like to make. I know this is a claim docket, this is not a contract on Ms. Randolph, so I agree with Trustee Gomez as well as Trustee Hernandez Orange, that's if those individuals or those consultants would like to address the board, they should be done in a more transparent way, but given that she does report those items to you, Superintendent, so maybe what you can do is probably put together maybe a summary to provide to the board as well.
Mr. Chairman?
Attorney
Yes.
Harris.
If I could, I'll give you my 2 cents on this and just my recollection of kind of what that discussion was. I didn't get the impression when the board requested that reports be submitted that it would necessarily be a permanent requirement of the contract, that rather, and Trustee Gomez, you can correct me if I'm wrong because I know you requested it, but my understanding was there was a discussion about whether or not her time was being devoted in areas that required the most emphasis, and also whether or not it was a correct reflection of how much she was getting paid, what her rate was. There was some conversation about possibly increasing the rate. So I thought it would be reviewed, a couple of reports might get reviewed, and then the board could revisit the issue of whether or not her rate needed to be increased, or there was some specific focus that the board would like to see the superintendent have Ms. Randolph kind of focus on. But that was my understanding of kind of where this whole reporting requirement went. So I would just hate to see the board implement an overall reporting requirement for all these consultants and create a lot of work when I'm not really sure that that was really the intent behind the request, but rather just to see if this contract is focused in scope the way it should be, and whether or not the rate that was being paid was sufficient to cover her for her efforts. That was the impression I got. But Trustee Gomez, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
We were all over the place, in my opinion, but, yeah, I think the initial intent was just to find out where we're at and, how do we move our district forward, and are we, allotting appropriate enough resources to where they should be. So that's where it all started. Then hourly rates got thrown in, and it just got convoluted after that, adding other contractors. That wasn't the intent. We're just trying to move our educational scores forward, and we're trying to figure out, are we doing the best we can? Is there a better way to do it? It seemed to get convoluted after that.
Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gibson King.
No.
Trustee Gomez.
No,
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 5.03, approval of interventionist at Washington Elementary. Sandra Collins. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, this is behavioral interventions that we were looking at to bring on to Washington Elementary to assist in Title I students in the areas of English and language arts. We do have Ms. Tammy Poe here, I believe, that can address the interventionists at Washington Elementary.
Good evening. Each of the schools are bringing on interventionists, and Ms. Andrea Hogan has selected to bring on Ms. Collins to help. I believe she's using her title dollars to help with the interventions, specifically Reading Horizons, which is a new program that was brought on for the students that are struggling, that have not passed I Read or I Learn. And so this is what is going on as far as a title, with her title dollars.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the interventionist at Washington Elementary? Sandra Collins, I believe is her name.
Sandra?
Sandra Collins. What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Sandra Collins. Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 5.03?
Make a motion for approval.
Motion made by
Second.
trustee Hernandez Orange, second by trustee Smith. Are there any questions or discussions?
Mr. President.
Trustee Gomez.
Paragraph, I'm sorry, yeah, well, essentially paragraph 3, page 1. It says that this agreement will be effective October 23rd, 2023.
Dr. Mitchell, would this be a retroactive?
Yes, that's what that appears to be, that October 23rd is a time that happened. So yes, it does look like this is going retro.
Trustee Hernandez Orange, or I'm sorry, Attorney Harris, would the motion be amended to be retroed,
It'd be to approve and ratify.
ratified?
I've changed my motion.
You okay?
Yep.
Okay,
I just want to get a question too.
all right. Any other discussions?
Yes. So on the claim docket, since she was already approved, before we approving it now, is this money that's paid here for 12/5 the money that we've already paid her?
Dr. Mitchell?
No,
Can she speak up a little louder, please? I'm sorry. Is this, are these dollars already paid for the services that she's already worked for? Is this what
no,
this is for?
this contract was a total contract not to exceed 25,000. And I don't believe that she's worked to get to that amount of 25,000. And I'm not sure, 100% sure, if she's even started this contract, but I know that with Reading Horizons, the state did say that we needed to have the, what's that thing, the SOR. And with those SORs, a number of those SORs came on board, but many of them didn't start until they were given directives from the principals, and the principals made their selections. I believe that Ms. Hogan is just now making her selection for the interventionists, but most of those interventionists from when they were supposed to start, it was back in that October timeframe. And I believe that at that time, we had 2 science of reading coaches that were approved. But again, all principals are working on different timelines with different things that they have going on in their buildings, and Ms. Hogan is just now getting to hers.
Any other discussions? Trustee Gomez?
Excuse me. So, Ms. Pohl, has this person started already? Mr. President, I'll make a motion to table this item. I don't think we have enough information right now.
If there's a motion on the table, or there's a motion made by trustee Gomez to table item 5.03, approval of interventionist at Washington Elementary. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Gibson King. Madam Secretary, roll call on the
Yeah,
second
discussion. I
motion.
got your discussion.
Okay, let's open up for discussion. Your name
Trustee,
is Orange.
so we actually approved this individual for an interventionist on 12/17/2023. So, yep, we approved it right here, 12/17. So, which means that she's been in the district, she's working, so now we're just approving the contract. So, yes, there is an issue where we didn't approve the contract, but at the same time, the dollars were there. She's been working in the district.
But she was working as, excuse me, was she working as a teacher? What was she?
Interventionist, it says right here. We approved it. Interventionist.
But before she became an interventionist, what was she? Was she?
Change position of a licensed substitute teacher to interventionist. It's on the docket that we had for 10/16/2023.
You say what date was that, Vanessa?
10/16/2023 is when we approved.
Any other discussion? Hearing none.
So right now, you're still on the motion to table it, right? Okay.
Trustee Gomez, are you satisfied with the comment? You want to move forward on the table?
The motion stands.
Okay. Madam Secretary, roll call on the second motion. This would be to table item 5.03.
We just continue getting these things after the fact. We get them piecemealed. It's frustrating.
Madam Secretary, roll call.
Yes, sir.
The second motion.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
No to table.
Trustee Smith.
No to table.
Chairman Rodriguez.
No. 5.03, approval of interventionist at Washington Elementary. Madam Secretary, roll call for the approval.
I think I'm confused.
Yeah, don't be confused. So there was a secondary motion to table. The motion to table failed. It had
However-
already been moved and seconded. for approval prior to the secondary motion. So we're back to where we are on the approval of item 5.03, approval of the interventionist contract. And now we're ready for roll call.
Okay. Okay.
It's for approval of 5.03.
Correct.
Okay. Trustee Gibson King.
No.
Trustee Gomez.
No.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. 5.04, approval of Super Psych Ed LLC agreement. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, this is a contract that's for psychological services for school psychologists to perform evaluations and for speech and language pathology. We do have Ms. Tammy Poe here to give further detail.
Yes, this person is currently working for us. We had a few resignations for speech. Caseloads are very big, and it's very hard to cover. And so I had asked the current person at Lincoln to help us out with some evaluations and take on some additional responsibilities and hours. And so I'm just trying to give her, increase her hours so that she can help me complete some of these services and supports due to resignations, trying to cover children. And that's what this is. She's currently with us. This is her second year.
Are there any comments from the audience approving the Super Psych Ed LLC agreement? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 5.04?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Smith. Are there any discussions?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question, Mr. President.
Trustee Gibson King?
Me and Mrs. Poe had some discussion about this, so want to make it very clear. You say this is for, these are, well, we're going to get to the next one for Mrs. Gonzalez, right?
Right.
Okay, these are for her students.
Yes. This is, actually, Miss Mars will be helping me throughout the district when I need extra help. She's taken on extra duties for this one, but the next one's for Miss Gonzalez.
Oh, so she's going to be doing what now? She's finishing out, I know you say Mrs. Gonzalez, this is for her. Mrs. Mars is going to be doing what now?
This one is for the speech, the next one's for Miss Gonzalez for the behavior.
Okay, all right.
Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. 5.05, approval of Psych Ed, Super Psych Ed LLC agreement at Lincoln Elementary. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, the administration has recommended approval of this behavior interventions for Lincoln Elementary School. At Lincoln Elementary School, we have an inordinate amount of children with behavioral issues. We want to make sure that we have the proper staff at Lincoln to accommodate that, but also to move Lincoln forward. We saw that Lincoln had some significant gains this year, and we believe that we can continue that if we address more of the behavioral issues that are going on. We do have Ms. Tammy Poe present to give more information if needed.
Yes. So what Ms. Gonzalez has decided to do is take her title dollars and hire a behavior specialist just for her building. And what she's trying to do is address a lot of the students with behaviors, the gen ed students and special ed students, and address the needs there. And so I just assisted to find somebody for her, but this is actually out of her title dollars.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the Super Psych Ed LLC agreement at Lincoln Elementary? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve item 5.05?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Trustee Hernandez Orange makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Gomez. Are there any discussions?
Chairman?
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Just out of curiosity, so once you implement the behavioral specialist, they're also tying all the other, I guess, individuals that are organizations that we use to help with our families overall, correct? I just want to make sure that we're all working together, seeing as we have contractors and so forth and so on. people who want to help.
Now, this one's just going to be, because we're using title dollars, we have to be careful. So this one will just be at Lincoln, not at the other schools, because Ms. Gonzalez has decided to use her title dollars. So this person will not go throughout the district. What I'm hoping is, if it's successful, that we can do something like that. But
So
it's for everybody.
So my question is,
building.
like, if I'm at Lincoln and I have the behavioral specialist come in, we find out that this individual is lacking because of an issue that's at home, and now we want to get psych ed in, or,
Do you mean like working as a team to come
Yes.
together? Oh, absolutely.
yeah, I just want to make sure that
Yes.
all the people that we have in our
Yes,
district are working
absolutely.
together to help.
Yeah.
Just the identifiers.
Prime
kind of
example,
bringing them all
today,
in.
we worked together today. Lincoln and Washington brought a team together to help and support a family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussions?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
I think trustee Hernandez Orange brings up a good point, and we have a number of services that we already offer throughout the, or through the district. This one's going to total $297,137. So it's, I'm glad also hear that you're considering moving this to other schools too. That was going to be my other question. When you say it's her title dollars, how much are her title dollars?
Her title dollars, I believe, were 26,000 this year. So this will be a part-time person in her building. And she chose to do this because of the fact that she has experienced a high number of incidents and behaviors. And so that's, when we talked about it, she asked what she could do. It was a suggestion, and so $26,000 is what she's going to do that. And I think what will happen eventually is, if this works out, we're going to try to find additional dollars to support everyone.
So how does that work if she has 26 and the total is 297,000?
It's only up to 26, and this has been made clear that it's $26,000. It's the hourly amount, and so she has a schedule for, and it'll be spread out through the year,
Okay.
the rest of the year, remainder of the year.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. 5.06, approval of MOU with Healthy Start Mental. Dr. Mitchell,
Healthy Hearts,
Healthy Hearts, I'm sorry.
Healthy Hearts, Healthy Minds Counseling LLC. What we are doing here is this particular contractor will be working with our students to obtain access to mental health services, and also provide other opportunities for teachers and faculty to be trained with the trainer-trainer model. We know that we do have an inordinate amount of contractors, and so now we're trying to ensure that not only are our students getting the resources that they need, but now our faculty and staff are also getting those resources, so we won't become so reliant on these contractors. We do have Ms. Tammy Poe here that's going to provide additional information.
Yeah, and additionally, Dr. Grady is going to come in and work with our top 10% of our students that are really struggling, but not just the students, the families, and the teachers and people that work with them. We have Infinity Counseling, and, believe it or not, we still need additional people to address the needs, the mental health needs, the behavioral needs, and Dr. Grady has worked in Hammond, and he's worked around, and I was at a conference and met him, and I really was impressed with how he addresses not just the student, but the families. The families have to come in, and then he works with the team that works with the student. So it's a wraparound type of service, and it's just additional supports because of the fact that Infinity Counseling has been addressing a lot of our needs, but we still have more needs. And I really believe that some of our young men are really struggling, and I really don't want to see them drop out. These are the kiddos that I really do want to address, at the high school mainly and at the middle school, but if we have them at the elementary, we will also bring them in too. These are our most intensive students.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the MOU with Healthy Hearts Mental? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 5.06?
Make a motion for approval?
Motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange. Is there a second? Second by trustee Gomez. Are there any discussions?
Chairman.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
So I think I brought this up when we have different contracts with, I guess, healthcare providers. And on page 5, it states the same thing with a healthcare provider. So the HHMC will submit insurance claims to students' insurance providers, including Medicaid, Medicare, CHIP, Hoosier Healthwise, or any other state-funded or federally funded healthcare plan. And with deductibles, co-insurance, and co-pays, SEC is not under obligation. So again, I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. We will charge the insurance company if someone has.
Dr. Will.
So, and I know we previously discussed about other companies, and I think our attorney spoke on this, but I just want to make sure that before any student takes advantage of this item, that we have documentation stating that your insurance will be charged for this item. Mind you, on here it says that if it's $75 per student, we will cover the cost, right? I'm correct in saying that. But then, like, how much do we go up to? Do we have a certain amount?
As far as, Dr. Grady and I have spoken, and I explained the fact that we do have to explain that as far as charging the insurance, that the parents know that their insurance will be charged. But like Infinity Counseling, they have a lot of interns that help us, and there's no charge at all. So before we start charging and we do get into, say, you know, an exorbitant amount of a cost, Dr. Grady and I are going to be in contact, and we are going to discuss before any charges come in, if he should have to charge. Like, for example, we already know that the PD that he's going to help me with the families and the teachers, I already know there's a cost for that, and definitely I'm going to pay for that. Those students that don't have any insurance, or most of them do, but say their insurance won't cover it, we're going to find a way to help with that.
Mr. President,
Attorney Harris?
I would just recommend that in the consent to care form, you know, consent to care, that's provided to each of the parents of these students, that there's a standard disclaimer there regarding our treatment of insurance and how they'll be billed. And that way, it's that same language, it's included in every consent to care document that every parent gets.
Yep, because, and I think
agree.
we stated beforehand, we just don't want to be in a situation, and I remember 100% in athletics, people would go because they hurt themselves, they'd go to the hospital, they'd receive treatment, and then they'd end up having the bill. They never understood why they had the bill and how much they were being charged, and they didn't have an insurance, so
Right.
we couldn't pay for it because they actually signed off on it. So, and I don't know if that's just a document, that's a consistent document for every item that we have.
Right.
Well, it's better double check than, you know, what you're saying.
Right, and as like with Infinity, we have never had to pay anything, because if there's a student in distress and, you know, there's an insurance issue, she just, you know,
Trustee Gomez?
cost.
Ms. Pold, when you started out talking about this, you mentioned about males and your concern. That has me concerned now. How many people are you talking about?
Right now, I just want to look at the top 10%. I really do want to see, I work with the middle school and the high school, more of a mentoring, more of a wraparound for those students that are not coming to school, that are failing, you know, that have high discipline incidents. We're going to be looking at them first. Those are the ones. I really want to look at the kids that are not on track, maybe, and how we can get them back on track. See what we can do to meet their needs. See what's lacking. And I mentioned males only because of the fact that Dr. Grady has worked with the correctional department. He's worked with, oh goodness, DCS. He's worked with many, many outside agencies to help with with students. And he knows many of our students already. And so after working with him and talking with him, I really thought, if I could bring him in and just to see how we can address some of the needs.
Very good, thank you.
Any other discussions?
I just want to ask a question. Is his
Trustee
name,
Gibson
is
King.
his name in this contract, Dr. Grady? Is his name in here anywhere?
I thought, I know it's under the Healthy Hearts.
But his name's not in here, though.
Yeah, it's, I know his wife is Autumn. I can't remember his first name, but Miss Anthony? Yes, do you know him? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call for item 5.06.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes,
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 5.07, approval of EPIC staffing agreement. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, Epic Special Education Staffing is a company that we use and we have a history with in providing therapists to the district. We do have Ms. Tammy Poe that can go into a little bit more detail about what this particular contract entails.
Yeah. Again, as I said, we had some resignations, and Ms. Kelly is also going to help us with our assessments, just trying to keep in compliance and meet some deadlines and get some paperwork done so that we are addressing the indicators, making sure we're not missing deadlines. So we've had an exorbitant amount of evaluations requested this year for speech. In fact, our autism rate has just skyrocketed. I've never seen anything like it this year. So every one of those needs a speech evaluation. So she's gonna help with those.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving EPIC staffing agreement? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 5.07?
Make a motion for approval.
Motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange,
second.
second by trustee Gomez. Are there any discussions?
President.
I'm sorry. Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
I do have a.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
trustee Gomez.
I thought I heard somebody else. So I'm confused on this contract. Is this a current employer that?
Yes.
Contractor who is,
Just taking on extra duties, hours, to help us with the evaluations and paperwork.
okay, because I see some, again, past dates here of August 10th, September 18th.
She was contracted already with those dates, so I'm not sure what that is. This is effective today, my understanding.
It says assignment dates, August 10 through May 31.
That's what it says.
Yeah, her,
And it says start date of Thursday, August 10th.
It's just an amended agreement that says on December 5th is
Yeah.
when we're adding on the additional hours shall be earned and billed as needed. So that, it's the contract that was already once approved and then just adding on the extra.
Any other discussions?
Mr. President, I had a quick question. Just-
Attorney Harris?
Just for the benefit of the board, do you have any indication as to the total budget for this agreement?
I don't have it with me, but it's just I think it was like maybe,
I mean, I get I know it's hourly, but it may come up later. The board
you
may
mean
or
as
may
far as
not.
not to exceed?
Yes, correct.
It should be in there because Attorney Snow does not allow those to go by.
Yeah, and I'm just having
Usually-
trouble finding it, that's all.
Yeah, in fact, he will not let us put those forth. Where's Miss Diane, right? Unless it says not to exceed a certain amount.
Yeah, and that's really why I'm asking, is it's
Yeah,
not
it
jumping out at
always
me, and I want to
does.
make sure we don't have one without it, too.
I'm pretty sure that we discussed that, but I'm not sure if it's in there.
I think it limits the time here, and that's the way you're getting at it, but without doing a calculation, you can't figure out what the total number is. That's what it looks like to me. You know, it says it shall not be more than so many working days, so many hours. So I think you can figure it out that way, but it's just not listed explicitly what the number is. And that's okay, that's just the way they did this particular agreement. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gibson King,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
No.
trustee Hernandez Orange,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 5.08, approval of HVAC contract. Dr. Mitchell?
Yes, as we come into this winter of inclement weather, we've had a number of issues within our buildings with the the HVAC systems going down. We do have a plan in place to replace all of the HVAC systems within our district, but that won't take place until the weather breaks. But at this time, we've had issues with getting contractors out in a timely manner to address the heating and cooling needs in our district. Therefore, we're recommending for a period of 30 to 60 days to just bring a person that's dedicated to HVACs to come in to rectify many of our issues to ensure that we get through this winter until we can get to the time when those new HVAC systems will be installed. And the scope of work is present here. This guy will work in nights, evenings, weekends, and over the break to ensure that we are stabilized from a heating and cooling perspective until we can get to the place again where the new systems will be installed.
Are there any comments from the audience in approving the HVAC contract? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board approving item 5.08?
I make a motion for approval of 5.08.
Motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Smith. Are there any discussions?
Chairman.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
So I did reach out to Dr. Mitchell, and I did have a concern. Well, first off, the concern for me is not more, it's cold in buildings. But I feel like we've put a lot of money into these HVAC systems, and I feel like they should have been fixed. And I'd had the discussion actually with our CFO, and she agrees that we did have a lot of issues that we previously had. We have contracts with Arctic. I would like to see an update on what Arctic is at, because I know one of the schools that they were supposed to fix was Harrison, and it's not yet. And because of that, now we're in this predicament. I don't want children to not be without heat, but to me, it just stands out that we're picking a person that, you know, do they have the proper certifications? Do they have the insurance in the background? You know, someone could say, well, why this person? Why didn't you put it out for bid? Why? And again, I understand the need because it's cold in these buildings. And I talked to Dr. Mitchell and I told him he was waiting for Mechanical Concepts, but I said Mechanical Concepts is in my building at the YMCA. So, you know, they're stretched thin. So I understand the need, but, and he did tell me how he came about this. Someone who ended up applying for the position for facilities director, but they had this background. I think we need to just do better overall, and it's no blame to Dr. Mitchell or anyone else, but you know, we're at this point now, another $15,000 when we have Arctic and all those that should have been already doing the business. We need to start going after those individuals who are not getting the job done at this point.
Dr. Mitchell, you want to respond, or?
Yeah, well, no, I totally agree. I shared that information with Ms. Hernandez Orange, trustee Hernandez Orange, and yes, this person is indemnified to $1 million for bonding. He also came highly recommended from several union houses And so we did do our background with that to ensure that he was who he said he was. And that's not necessarily the case across the board. I know that even today, we had a call out to, again, Mechanical Concepts, and I saw them as I was going to one of our buildings. They were at a building that had nobody in the building that's been vacant for months now. And so I'm like, maybe they're not prioritizing the proper way, but we definitely need someone to address our needs in a day. Case in point, you mentioned Harrison. Harrison had temperatures in their building last week ranging from 98 to 44. That was the range. So the classrooms were extremely hot and the cafeteria was extremely cold. Again, our administrators and teachers have done a yeoman's job in making sure that instruction happens, making sure that the building is still operational. But again, we just have to make sure that we're doing our part on this side. Even in this particular building, you see space heaters in here today, but you're in a hallway. The hallway is cool, and Gymnast, who is one of our tenants who's paying us to be in this building, can't even hold classes because the heating and cooling on that side is totally out. Again, so I believe that having someone with the level of expertise during this interim period until we can get those new HVAC systems installed, I think that this will definitely get us on a better footing as we go forward. I know I had this similar conversation with Trustee Gomez about the same thing, and actually, I'm glad that he did do what he did, because that I went to each of those buildings and just making sure that the case is, because sometimes we act on things and we haven't experienced it. But when going out to those buildings, you're experiencing, you see what's going on, you see how difficult instruction is, you see what the people are doing to make it work and make it happen. I think that we need to just make sure that we're doing all that we can do as administration and at this table to ensure that our students have what they need to be successful. So, yeah.
Trustee Gomez?
No, I share the same frustration that Trustee Hernandez Orange does.
I do want to
Mr.
make.
Chairman?
Trustee Smith?
Maybe this might be out of order, but had this been done, approved, but a year and a half ago, when we first started with the HVAC system, do you all remember that? When we first got the ESSER's money and all of this was a part of rehabbing, we would not have had this problem because that would have been solidified and all of these issues would have been taken care of. So I'm going to say that I'm not going to blame Dr. Mitchell. I'm going to say it was a part of the board because we could not make a decision, and all of at this particular time, everybody else every other district was working on their HVAC system and working on all the things with the ESSER's fund. So I'm going to say it's our fault because we're having these problems, because this should have been taken care of 2 years ago, right after ESSER's money, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm wrong, correct me, should have been done. So now it falls on the superintendent, and now we look like we don't know what we're doing. Oh, because this is really unnecessary. This should have been done 2 years ago,
Chairman?
and we wouldn't have this problem.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Like I stated, because we did approve the HVAC system with ESSER funds for our entire school district, and it actually has not been fully put in, correct, CFO? So if we could follow up on the contract with not Epic, if we could follow up with Arctic, so we could find out exactly where they're at and why we're not getting our stuff in, or what else is needed from us to finally finalize that project, because it has been lingering for about a year and a half, 2 years, right?
So in other words, they would owe us money.
No, I mean.
No, I'm just
let me-
being funny.
I do
I'm
wanna
just
make
saying.
a- I do wanna make
contract
a-
is a contract, but they need to be accountable.
I agree, yes.
They need to be accountable.
And I do want to make a quick comment. the ESSER funds wasn't going to cover 100% of the HVAC systems.
Didn't matter.
It was only 30, it was anywhere between 30 to 40% of the HVAC systems would have been covered with ESSER funds.
ESSER funds was gonna cover 3 schools, Harrison,
Right.
Washington,
Right.
McKinley.
And we also had a,
And we had that, excuse me, that was out of the ESSER $1, right?
That was under ESSER 2 and
Okay.
ESSER 3.
Okay, now, okay, I wasn't on the board then, but I do remember this conversation. Now, somebody gave us some money. Who gave us some money? Some lawsuit, somebody. Hammond got some money for some of these vac systems. Who was that?
Only money that we have received outside of the ESSER money was
It was some-
for,
It was some dollars that was
That was
supposed to be
BP.
split between Hammond Schools and East Chicago.
that was BP. BP gave us some money for air purifiers for our teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, since you're up there, do we have a line item for an HVAC person or individual or contractor?
We have presently had a line item for HVAC. We have not had an HVAC person in the district, and I've been here 6 years. I think he left in 2016.
Retired, I think.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because, I mean, to understand the HVAC systems and how it flows throughout the school district, it takes an individual to do that. Somebody to understand the airflow of how big these schools are. So having an individual that we can say is, is our person to do the work, you don't need a contractor for that. And if you do get a contractor, we're going to have to put it out for bid. Most likely, they're going to probably charge us arm and a leg. But having an individual that can come in and say, hey, let's change this, let's do this, let's turn this thing on and get this fan blowing to this area here and, So that's my point. I think having had one and now not having one, I can see where the issue is. So by having one, we may be able to solve some of the Band-Aid, we can stop the bleeding. And I think that's why I'm approving this contract, at least for me.
Chairman, I agree. I think it is a good Band-Aid, but the reason why the HVACs for the school districts overall are needed, even at Central High School, if you sit in that building, you'll get all the air and heat and cool in the athletic office, but you won't get it on the other side. So that building alone, it's just all over how it was all built. So I do remember seeing the individual go up in the HVAC. I remember him very vividly because he'd always come in. But there's a bigger problem, and that's why when they talked about the HVAC overall, that was needed because it should be a flip of a switch, but it's not, unfortunately, because of how our buildings are built. So I just want it fixed for our kids and our teachers because it's cold.
And I think possibly maybe having this individual there, he can probably solve some of the issues that we're having, minor issues.
Yeah.
That can get the current flowing. So, okay. Did you want to say something else?
We currently have the gentleman that was working with the certified HVAC system guy. He's trying to help us out, but it's a lot in all of our buildings that's going on. So he can only do so much, and he wasn't totally certified on all parts of it. So he has been amazing for the last 6 years of helping us out. But yeah, we need that certified person to come in.
I got a question. Do we have 4 water chillers at Central? How many are on during the summer months?
4 water
Chillers?
chillers?
Yeah,
All our chillers work at Central,
okay. Okay.
to my knowledge. Rephrase that, because I'm not HVAC chiller, none of that. To my knowledge, all chillers was working. They have not mentioned that we need to replace any chillers at Central. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Mr. President, which line item is this?
Gomez?
I'm sorry?
Which line item is this coming out of?
That would come out of your operations fund?
Operations. And then on page 1, near the bottom, it says that the Director of Facilities is going to be overseeing this person? Who would that be?
That would be true.
Who is that?
Yeah, who is it?
I'm sorry, who's the
Who is that?
Director of Facilities?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Director of Facilities is Lenny Francisci.
He's still acting as,
That is his title, yes.
Any other discussions? Madam Secretary, roll call for item 5.08.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 6, subcommittees. We'll start with Policy Committee. Trustee Gomez, you have anything to report?
Scheduling a meeting for this Wednesday for 6 o'clock PM.
6 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. 6.02, Finance. Trustee Gibson King.
There's nothing to report at this time.
Okay, thank you. Item 7, Interim Superintendent remarks. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, just like to begin by saying that over the Thanksgiving holiday break, I had the opportunity to take in, 8 games and supporting our young ladies and our young men, and both were tremendously successful. We had great turnout at each of those events, ranging from Thea Bowman to Westside High School in Gary. Then not only were they recognized and shown excellent sportsmanship, but they were also recognized for their scholarship. And that's something that would really make my heart feel good to see that before the games, many of our players had made such great progress in the classroom that they were recognized publicly in that forum. And that was at the, again, the Thea Bowman game and also the Lakeshore Classic. We also have had shown tremendous success. We have Principal Rancifer in the audience right now, where Carrie Gosh was at the beginning of this year in August. They were functioning at a level 1 for the Pathways PTAC, I can't think of the name of it, of the certification. And I'm proud to say that today, as of Friday, they're recognized now as a level 3 center, and so. And to take it that, to go from a level 1 to a level 3 in a matter of 3 months, that's unheard of. And we're well along our way to becoming a level 4. And my challenge to her was, we can do level 4 before the end of this school year. And so, but she's done a great job at doing that, and she even has a poster that came in today from the state that shows that we're our level 3. So it was made up. So if you could share, that's it. So pass to quality. Yeah. Yeah, and we also, this is just a great time to just celebrate everything and to be thankful for a lot of things. We also have our 3rd Lilly Scholar in a row, 3rd year in a row, Miss Jada Sellers, will be recognized tomorrow morning at 9:40 a.m. at Central High School in a mini theater. The Lilly Foundation will be coming to publicly recognize her as the Lilly Scholar here. And so we say that our schools are failing, we say that our children are not doing well, but yet we have scholar athletes. We have Early Learning Center that's scoring at a level 3. We have Lilly Scholars. We have the momentum. We have the tools, we have the resources, and now we just have to bring it all together and make it work. It's almost like, I know that many of you are here around my age, right? Remember the $6 Million Man, right? So he was just a regular old dude who got banged up, but they put him back together, and they put him back together even better. I would like, the school corporation is going back better. We have a great staff of administrators, we have a great staff of students, we have a great teachers and principals. We can do this. We have great parents. We have a great community. So let's continue to do that work. We continue to accept your prayers and your encouragement, but more than that, we need your support. And that support comes in many different ways. And one way that we can support is to continue to speak positive things into not only our students, but into our community. And so this also brings to this point is that along with all of these great achievements, we've also have experienced trauma in a district. And no matter, it seems like every time we take a step forward that something happens, but we are resilient. And over this past weekend, we did have something happen to one of our Cardinal family, but with prayers, we know that that person will get better and come back even better. So at this time, I would just like for you just take a moment of silence and just let's send out the prayers not only for those who have been affected by trauma and different hardships and adversities, but even for those who are doing well, let's pray that they even do better. Just take a moment of silence right now just to do that. Yes, and as we go on, we come into the holiday season, and if anybody has gone through holidays, and I'm looking in the audience, you all gone through many holidays, that this time, stress and anxiety is at its peak. And we know that mental health is real, especially in our city that we all love. And I say that let's take it seriously. And again, I say this almost every time. If you see something, say something, because many times the person who's going through can't say it for themselves. And we have to be there for them to help them get through this tough period. We never know what anybody's going through, but we can make an assumption that everybody's going through something at some point. And I think that we just need to be, to really believe that and to be sincere when we do reach out and say, hey, are you okay? And I'm here to help. If you're not, don't say it. But let's at least be able to speak it, you know. Also, we have this week coming up, this week, we have our not Thanksgiving dinner, our holiday dinner that's going to take place at the cafeteria over at Central High School in the morning hours. And then right after that, we have the inauguration of our Barado gymnasium basketball floor is going to be blessed by our athletes there at Central High School, and we're asking everyone to come out. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be a long day that's worthwhile. I believe that the athletic director has been so kind to provide the administrators and people who are working the games with these lovely shirts that's emblazoned with the Cardinal symbols, and we will wear those and we will represent and be Cardinal proud. So, but again, you all are invited out, and I hope that you all can make it. Remember that we are EC and we're Cardinal proud. Thank you.
Item 8, trustees' remark, 8.01. We'll start with Trustee Smith.
No comments. Superintendent, Mr. Mitchell, did you introduce the, oh my God, the new employee?
Yeah, well, we have a new employee, but this is her third board meeting, I believe.
But you
She's been
kept
with us for over a month now. So Ms.
you keep
Regina
forgetting
Williams, the
to do-
coordinator of
introduce
HR.
her. Thank you.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes, yes, I want to remind everybody about the art of identity from Mrs. Reese, who is the art teacher at Block Junior High. As a reminder, she's going to have her 7th and 8th graders come out December the 8th from 9 to 11 at, from 9 to 10 at the Patrick Branch Library. And then we will have another exhibit at our main library from 10 to 11. So I'm hoping that everyone does come out and see our students with their teacher, Mrs. Reese. And I also want to give congratulations to Mrs. Ransom for our foundation, because they are the foundation that we have to rely on, you know. So I'm so glad that they are back to a level 3, because they've been at a level 1 for so long. But I'm glad to hear that they have been brought back up, and congratulations. Thank you.
Trustee Gomez?
I only have one comment. That's to acknowledge the passing of Larry Opat, one of our school city employees. His funeral was this past week. So if we could send a letter to his family or card.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
What do you say?
Larry Opat.
What did he say?
Hey, Trustee Gomez, who was the person again? I'm sorry.
Larry Opat.
Olowe, yeah,
Oh.
from Roxana.
Yes, no, I agree. I just wanted to make sure that that was one of the ones that you said, but also just to acknowledge longtime attorney for the school city of East Chicago, and while we might not have seen eye to eye on many things, he was still part of the district, and Mr. Richard Lesniak. So he also passed away. If we could send something to his family. Also, a couple things that I wanted to say in regards to tonight's meeting. First and foremost, this is my second to last meeting, and I ask, as a board, we need to really think about pushing individuals who are really trying to help our district away. We need to think twice, and I understand we have to do things by the book and by the budget, and please believe I am one of those that check and double check and triple check. But the more we push individuals who are really trying to help our district, all you're doing is hurting the students of our district. The more we're trying to find more work to do for individuals who are trying to help our district, all you're doing is pushing them away. I look to our neighbor in Gary, and I see them all coming together for the betterment of those students. They are going to surpass us they will, because I see the togetherness that they have, and their main focus from administrators, from their board, from everyone, are those students. I encourage that as you move forward. I get it. The board previously did this, and they did that, and they did this, and negative, 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 negative. At one point, we have to just let it go and move forward and think about the kids at the bottom line. The continuous picking, it's like we're bullying some of our contractors, we're bullying some of our people who work just like the kids in the school building. So if we're not doing any better, why would children do any better? The other thing I say is Trustee Gomez's frustration in some of the items that are not being done. Trustee Gomez, I agree. It is very frustrating that so many things, or not so many things, but things do fall from the crack. But I do not blame the administration. Why? You're working with individuals who are doing 2 to 3 jobs. We just had our CFO tell us she is not sure if the HVAC is working or not, because that is not her job. So with that being said, we have that throughout the entire district. And I've said it once before. I said it, depending who is at the board top is whether we're gonna fill positions or not. And that's always gonna be an issue with everyone else, because then other people have to take 2 or 3 jobs. So then you'll never really focus on what it is that the students actually need. At one point, I tried for 6 years to do better. Obviously, that didn't happen because I feel like we regressed even more. But I hope that it changes. With that, to just bring a couple notes, I know we said about the Sounds of the Season, our holiday concert. One of our teachers, Ms. Katrina Alexander, along with the drama club, is also presenting an original stage play at Central High School on December 15th and 16th. And that will be called Overcomer, From Bully to Overcoming the Odds. It is at the Central High School Auditorium and starts at showtime, 7 o'clock. So if you can, definitely go support them. And just to end, I Want to say congratulations to our students who participated in the Celebration of Lights for the city of East Chicago. As always, they do a great job. It was rainy and it was cold, and they were there. So congratulations to them. And with the message from Dr. Mitchell, hold our children tight. Appreciate the teachers who give everything, and our coaches too. Because we never know what's going on with their lives, but they come every day and they show up, and they need to be appreciated.
I think Dr. Mitchell mentioned earlier with regards to December 9th between 1 PM and 3 PM. Let's definitely come out. This is a holiday dinner at Central High School, and it's breaking bread together. This is what Christmas is all about, conversating, communicating, meeting one another for the first time, for the second time, or whatever. So it's important for everyone to come out for that. Also, the night before Christmas, December 14th, is going to be at the main library, Photo with Santa. There'll be Jack Skeleton, virtual reality games, craft stations, snacks, face painting, popcorn, animal balloons, movies. So we definitely want you out. It's called The Night Before Christmas. The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is the night before Christmas for me. No, just kidding. Nightmare Before Christmas. This will be Thursday, December 14th. And again, our next meeting, and I know we have some audience discussions, but our next meetings, we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna have some awards and a proclamation. We want to make sure that if you guys can come out next week and kind of support some of the awards that we're going to be providing for these individuals. These are school board members as well as athletic departments and individuals that have came to me to say, hey, let's start providing awards to individuals that deserve it, individuals that are just over meeting those expectations, and we want to do that, and we want to start honoring them. So that would be, we're going to start off next meeting, which is going to be December 18th at 6 o'clock. Item 9, public forum, Attorney Harris.
Okay. Before we do that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just before we do that, I just want to just mention one more time that on Wednesday, December 6th, we have the job fair at Kerry Gosh from 3 to 6. It's open, and we're interviewing on the spot with salaries for teachers ranging from $43,000 to $81,000. And then again, the following Wednesday, from 10 to 6, another job fair. Again, interviews on the spot, same ranges, and we're really looking for teachers, bus drivers, and paraprofessionals. Those are the 3 top, but again, we have many positions across the district that we need to fill. I just want to take this time and this opportunity to share that with the public that may be participating online at this call, and those of you that's here in the audience. Please share that information. It's at Kerry Gosh, and it will be in the Parent Cafe.
All right, good evening. In accordance with the district's public comment policy, I would ask that you step to the podium and state your name and address. Your comment will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be respectful of the board, the staff members that are here, and your fellow guests here at our meeting. Lastly, if you could please refrain from discussing any personnel matters. Thank you.
Trustee Gomez.
Only one speaker for this evening, Linda Randolph.
Good evening, Linda Randolph, 4437 Alder Street, East Chicago. I really signed up to, first of all, congratulate Kerry Gosh on the Level 3 achievement, and I'm just so proud of you and all the work that your team has done. And I want to say to Vanessa Hernandez Orange, thank you for all of your service to our district. You know, if I never lived to say this on the 18th, I wanted to say it today. Thank you on behalf of the community. I want to also remind the community, parents in particular, please help your seniors with their 21st Century Grant obligations. Please make sure that your seniors apply for the Foundation of East Chicago grants. Those grants run from $2,500 to $10,000. Those grants, if the children go to school, stay in school, can be repeated the next year. And I also found out for those who accumulate additional scholarship funds, that money can roll over and help you with your 5th year if you go to graduate school. How awesome is that? But our children have to be cognizant of deadlines, cognizant of the fact that they need a couple of references, and they have been informed of this. The councils are aware of it, but we're up against the timeline now. This started in October. We have very few East Chicago kids submit so far. It closes mid-January. January 15th. But you're looking at, when you come back to school, there's only 1 week. Then there's approaching the long weekend for Dr. King. So the children need to do it right now. So I'm here to really urge parents to push your children. If they need help, let's get help before school is out. And for a couple of the people that you approved tonight, I salute you. Ms. Collins is a former teacher and assistant principal in the Maryville School District. So for retirees like Ms. Collins and myself to still be willing to come back and help, thank you for those who gave the vote of confidence for a seasoned person to come and help our children. Dr. Grady, I have seen him with some very difficult cases in Hammond, and we have some difficult cases in East Chicago. I interact with them on a regular basis. From confidentiality perspective, I share it with Dr. Mitchell. That's my job, to report to Dr. Mitchell. And in regard to all the conversation and all the feelings about who you want me to talk to and how you want me to say it, I am a rule follower. So if the policy is for contractors to do something, then it's the policy for everyone. I'll be 73 soon, and I'm not going to be discriminated at this point, but I will be obedient to what is expected. So I have a lot of other things to say, but God told me over there, peace be still. You know, he'll take care of this. You know, thank you.
Trustee Gomez? Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion for adjournment.
Motion made by trustee Hernandez Orange. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Smith. Madam Secretary, roll call for
Trustee
adjournment?
Gibson King?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes, that concludes our business portion of the meeting and the session for today. Thank you very much.